The Pokemon Company hit us with some super effective announcements this week. We've got new games on the way.
In a sad week as more layoffs hit the industry, this time from Sony and EA. We're going to talk about all this stuff and so much more right now on Gaming News Weekly. What's up, everybody? It's time for another episode of Gaming News Weekly, the best weekly video game news show out there. Every Monday, we're bringing you all the biggest things happening in the video game industry. You can find us on Fruit Lab, you can find us on YouTube, and podcast services everywhere. My name is E-Rock the Red, and I am joined every week by this man right here, Full Clip. What is going on?
What's up? Doing all right. Yeah. What are you getting into this past week?
Oh man, it's been it's been dreary out. The temperatures are changing up and down, so I feel like I've just been constantly just fighting a cold. But that being said, just playing a lot of games. Just playing a lot of games lately. I've been on my Steam Deck more than I have recently, because you know how on Steam, I don't know if it's a Steam thing, must be, where it keeps track of the past 2 weeks. Of your gaming,
your activity,
your hours, yeah. And I just looked at it. It was last 2 weeks. It was 45 hours or whatever. That I've been playing a bunch of different games. So yeah, I've been busy. What about you?
Yeah, I really haven't gotten into anything new lately. Still, a little less.
Still crushing Hell Let Loose.
A little less Hell Let Loose. I got back into Pal World a little more this past week. I'm trying to do this grind, and it's all silly because if it's your server and mine's a solo world, so it acts like my own server, you can always you've got all these sliders and XP bars and stuff to make it really easy to just launch up. But I feel like I want to do this legitimately and see how the game plays to get to level 50, and I think that's where you max out. But once you're there, I think it becomes a game about breeding more than anything, which is interesting. I haven't gotten into it yet.
All right, interesting. Yeah, I did. I always forget that that's even a thing that happens.
Yeah,
but I haven't played that in a while. That was one that I was playing with my son, and he's moved on. He's really into Minecraft and stuff lately, which is why I've been playing on my Steam Deck so often, because he's just been, using the television and playing his games. But I've been playing still ton of Balatro. Talked about that last week, the card game. That's been my number one game. That and the Mobius Machine, which is one of our new releases. I'll talk about that then. But I just started playing this game, Terror at Oakheart. I had gotten a review copy of it, and it's this NES style game where it is just these these little sprite pixel based sprites, but it's a horror game, and it's very much reminiscent of it reminds me a lot of Scream. Whereas there's this killer on the loose, and then you go and you're playing these just regular people, and then all of a sudden the killer comes in and you have to either survive or whatever, and then it keeps going to different people, and you play as these different people and try to figure out how to survive. And it reminds me a lot of Friday 13th for the NES or stuff like that, and it is so much fun. It's only $6 Steam game, but if you're into horror movies or slashers like that, it does such an amazing job of being one. A tiny little sprite-based version, but the humor is there, the dialogue, it's so well done. It's only a 3-hour game, but I'm about halfway through and I'm having a blast.
Nice. I was getting vibes of Until Dawn when you're talking about jumping between the characters. Is it as story rich as something like that, or just more simple?
Much more simple. The story is as extensive as some of the the shittier horror slasher movies from the 80s and 90s. It's a pretty bad story, but it's definitely an enjoyable game, and I'm having fun with it. But yeah, I've been playing some of the other new releases. Should we move along and get into those?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's talk about our new releases from last week. All right, first up, Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons remake came out on February 28th on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X. This is one of those remakes that I'm like, dude, why? Like, is there a need for this? Like, the game was from 2013, and it aged pretty well, in my opinion. I played it a couple years ago on, I think, like Game Pass or something, and I thought it was, like, for the style and everything, I thought it was fine. It didn't need a remake. But that being said, they remade it, and they, it's got updated visuals and some new quality of life improvements. But it's a game about, you're these brothers, discovery, loss, mystery. It's got it all. It's one of those tear jerkers. You find yourself playing it and jerking your tears.
Yeah. Yeah, I played a little bit of this one too on the Switch, and I'm right there with you. I didn't know that this really needed a remake, but I'm sure it looks okay on Switch. Might not look so good on Xbox Series X and PS5 and stuff like that. Sure. Yeah, a lot of puzzles. It's a good two-player, but there was some weirdness there. It's like they give you a disclaimer that this game was only meant for one player, so the two-player experience might be a little strange. It seemed okay for the first few hours that we played.
Okay. Yeah, so it was like the single player was meant like where you control both of the brothers, and that's part of like, the puzzle dynamics and that sort of thing. I remember, I played it by myself. So yeah, now they've added co-op, so you could have, I think, like, be able to play with a friend of yours or whatever. But it's only about a 4-hour game, which is another weird thing. Like, you're just out there putting all this money into remaking a 4-hour game that still looks great. I don't know. I don't get it, but it came out. The big one this week, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, came out February 29th on PS5. This is considered to be already, in contention for Game of the Year. It's right up there. And again, this is a remake that, makes sense. But it's a remake of Final Fantasy VII. Everybody knows what Final Fantasy VII is, and it's a sequel to Final Fantasy VII Remake from 2020. Now, this is part 2 of a trilogy, which who knows when we'll see part 3. But this is like everything I'm hearing. It's a lot more open world, and just everything like Final Fantasy Remake, but just better. Just like everything about it has just been polished, fine-tuned, where you could tell that they put a ton of money into this, ton of time, and it's like just like a blockbuster movie at every turn. It's like 70 to 100 hour game, which is crazy.
Wow.
But yeah, and it's only 2 of 3.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a big game.
It took me a second to catch up with you there. When you were saying Game of the Year, I'm like, what timeline are we on where a remake gets Game of the Year? I forgot there's a category for remakes now.
Right. Yeah. But even like Dead Space last year was considered in contention. Resident Evil 2 or whatever. Is it 2? Yeah. Remakes are they're
Were they in that top category?
I think in some places.
I'm thinking like Game Awards specifically, I guess.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I don't remember. I think there was. I'm not entirely certain, but yeah, it's this, even saying it's a remake, because it's entirely different from the PlayStation game. It's so much more expansive, and even like the core gameplay is entirely different, where it's not it used to be turn-based, and now it's this melee combat combo of controlling characters and that sort of thing. So I'm still playing remake. I'll get through that, then I'll move on to this. I got all the time in the world to get there. Did you ever play Final Fantasy VII, like OG?
No. I'm probably back on like 2 or 3 on the SNES.
Oh, okay. All right, next up, The Mobius Machine came out on March 1st on PC, Xbox, and PS5. This is a Metroidvania. It's like a 2.5D, where it's like you're only going in 1D, but it goes pretty deep. A lot of Ds. It's a beautiful game. It's like this sci-fi futuristic world. There's over 80 pretty interesting enemies, tons of upgrades. Like, the pacing is really well done. I'm about 25 hours into this one, and I'm having a blast. I've never been a big Metroidvania guy ever, but something about this specific one it just clicked. And now I'm like, I'm really loving how, they show you the mini map, right? And like the parts that are blurred out or aren't shown are parts that you haven't been to yet. And I'm like, I gotta touch every, I gotta see every outline, every wall, and the exploration part of it. I'm having a blast with. It's really fun. This one's like a twin stick shooter style. And I like that. There's different upgrades that you can upgrade your weapons, upgrade your booster for different speed and different traversal. You could go, there's a whole underwater level, which no one likes underwater levels. I don't know why they keep adding them in games these days. But yeah, dude, the Mobius machine got me into Metroidvanias, and I'm like, I'm looking for the next one to play. So
Right. Yeah, this one looks interesting with the 3D graphics, the lighting, the shadows. That makes it really different from most of the Metroidvanias, which always try to do that same old like pixel style to be true to the originals, I guess. But this one changes it up, makes it interesting.
And that's what initially drew me in. Like it was the look of it. It had a very polished, different look, and it had that like that sci-fi aesthetic that I enjoyed. And then the gameplay got me. Now I don't know as far as like, you know, people that are like there's Metroidvania fans out there. I don't know where this falls in the spectrum. I do think it's probably a bit of an easier Metroidvania than other people played. It doesn't have like that, you know, the precision platforming in a lot of those 2D side scrolling Metroidvanias. And I think that's what I like about it. I could just kind of casually go through and just find my way through. There are parts where it stressed me out, where I have no view of the map until you unlock the map piece. And I was playing for maybe about a half hour, and I'm just going around. I'm trying to find a safe spot. And it reminded me of when I first initially played like Demon Souls or Dark Souls, where like you've been playing so long, you don't want to lose your, you know, like your progression. But I'm like, I need to find a safe spot. I'm down to a little bit of health, and like it, you know, I did have that stress and anxiety, and it felt good. It felt fun, you know, because I did find a safe spot, and I did do the thing.
Very nice.
Yes. And then last up, the Thaumaturge came out on March 4th on PC, PS5, and Xbox S and X. This is an isometric, story-driven, turn-based role-playing game. I think I hit all the descriptors in there. It's set in early 20th century Warsaw, and you play as a Thaumaturge. And what that is, it's like this. It's kind of like a magic based character, and he can see these ghosts basically, and then use them to do things. You could control them. You could use them to fight in games. You could use them to, you know, manipulate people's choices, their minds, like make them do things for you. And the whole game, like you're trying to like you got to solve these mysteries in order to progress the story. It's a really cool game. I've been playing it. I think I only got a couple hours into this one. There is a the timeline on the review embargo is a little weird on this one. By the time this show is out, the embargo is like a few hours later. So I'm not going to go into too much detail on it as far as a review or anything like that. But next week I'll have more on it. I'm hoping to get in there more because I think I heard it's maybe like a 15 to 20 hour game, and like I said, I'm only a couple hours in, but the system and everything pretty cool so far. There's a skill tree, and it whatever you choose to upgrade kind of changes the way you play the game, where you can, you know, manipulate people in different ways, either like through their mind or through physicality, and make them kind of either do your bidding or what. So yeah, I'll have more on it next week, but it's a very interesting game. The graphics, so I'm playing it on my Steam Deck, and I don't want to even touch on it graphically. I don't like it struggles a little bit on the deck, but you know, I have no comparison. You know, I'm on a nice PC. It probably looks fantastic because it does look great, but there are times where like I see a little pop in or whatever. But yeah.
No, is this supposed to be Steam Deck compatible, or is it like a roll of the dice situation?
I think it is. I'm not certain if it's verified or whatever yet. But it plays just fine. I actually had to. It was funny when I first started it up. It was entirely in Polish, and I had to figure out how to change the language, which it took me like a couple minutes, but I figured it out. A lot of guessing and some, maybe some Google Translate, but I got there, and yeah. But so far, it's been playing real good, and I will have more next week after I hopefully put a bunch more hours into it. All right, and that's it for this week's new releases. We're starting to crank out some games here. It's getting going pretty soon. Dragon's Dogma. That's the one I'm going to buy. Remember?
Your embargo is lifted.
Finally. It will be lifted. It will be lifted. All right. Should we move things along? Talk about our news of the week?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Let's do it. All right. This past week has really been a bummer. It sucks, man. I was not looking forward to coming here and talking about all this, the depressing news that's been hitting this industry. But here we are, and we got a lot to talk about. Let's, first off, the big thing, PlayStation and EA both had significant layoffs to their workforce. Let's talk about Sony and PlayStation first. Sony laid off 900 staff, about 8% of its PlayStation workforce. It affects Insomniac, Naughty Dog, Guerrilla, Firesprite, and PlayStation's London studio got shuttered completely. So, pretty crazy when you think about, we're going to talk about all this stuff, but just specifically like Insomniac, Naughty Dog, and Guerrilla. These are the three studios really that have put PlayStation 5 on the map. They're the reason the PlayStation 5 has sold so well, and even they're getting affected by these layoffs, which is crazy. Like, Insomniac has been churning out hit after hit after hit, and so is Naughty. Like, it's insane to me that those studios are also being affected, but I don't know. And we talk about it all the time. You and I, we're not business people. We don't know the ins and outs of these big corporations and the reasons that these happen, but we're going to speculate. Yeah. It's going to be awesome.
A lot of what I read online, people seem to think that this is a lot of returning to normal after a COVID boom, because everybody was at home playing games. Therefore, everybody invested more into gaming. Right. I don't know. I mean, that's probably a part of it, but I think it's that oversaturation in the market as well. And it's just good old capitalism where we have to maximize those profits for the next quarter or somebody's going to jail.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And we'll get into the whys and our speculation in a little bit. I just want to read a quote from the people at Sony. These are incredibly talented people who have been a part of our success. We are very grateful for their contributions. However, the industry has changed immensely, and we need to future-ready ourselves to set the business up for what lies ahead. We need to deliver on expectations from developers and gamers and continue to propel future technology in gaming. So we took a step back to ensure we are set up to continue bringing the best gaming experiences to the community. And then he goes on to say, this is all Jim Ryan, says, this will not be easy, and I am aware of the impact it will have on well-being. Affected employees will receive support, including severance benefits. While these are challenging times, it is not indicative of a lack of strength of our company, our brand, or our industry. Our goal is to remain agile and adaptable and to continue to focus on delivering the best gaming experiences now and in the future. So, and that last part goes into a little bit of what you're saying about the capitalism part, because it is not for a lack of strength of their company or brand or industry, because we've been talking a while about record profits for a lot of these companies, and these layoffs, a lot of them are due to trying to remain profitable and remaining so that these CEOs, the heads of these companies, can still earn, even though maybe the company's not performing as well as it could, which is it's very unfortunate, but that's not everything. Again, that's just a part of it, but it's a part that sucks, and it's a part, the greed of these companies, that really does, that's the worst part about it.
Yeah, and we're going to hear a lot of corporate PR speak as we go through this. And yeah, that's a good example right there, where you're not really saying much. It's just, we're doing great. Everything's great. We just had to let go of hundreds of people.
Exactly.
Just so happens.
And with PlayStation, we know like where they went wrong. They've been pretty upfront about it. Like initially, yes, like you said, a lot of huge investments during the beginning of the pandemic when everybody would like video games were at their all-time high. Everybody was staying home playing games, and then they gambled. They gambled with PlayStation VR 2, and that really didn't pan out for them. And then with their decision to make these, 12 live service games, and we saw how what's happening with these live service games and how they're not panning out, like The Last of Us. The Last of Us Online, that was canceled well into the production of that game. Probably a bunch of other live service games are going to be canceled because of this. One of them being one that you and I were really excited about, Twisted Metal. We talked about it for a while. Finally, it took the closing of the studio basically, or the layoff of the majority of the studio at Fire Sprite, to find out that they were making a Twisted Metal live service game, and that one hurt. I was a little bummed about that, because that's what we always said. We're like, just make it live service, buy different skins for your cars or whatever, and just put it out there. So that one was canceled. And yeah, it's I don't know what the future is for a lot of these studios, what they're planning on working on. We did talk about it a couple weeks ago, how PlayStation has no plans for any, of their first party franchises to come out anytime soon. So yeah, I don't know what any of the teams are working on now, what's been canceled. We don't get a look at that. I wish they were more upfront with, what was getting canceled, what they're working on still, but
Yeah, this Twisted Metal one hurts, and with the popularity, I mean, it's not that popular, I'm sure, because the fragmentation in the streaming industry of the Twisted Metal TV show. I can't even remember which platform it's supposed to be on.
Peacock,
it's like Apple TV, Peacock.
Okay.
Yeah, so with that coming out, I figured there'd be a little bit of like a revitalized interest in Twisted Metal, and this would have been pretty cool, especially if they're going to come out with another season or two of that show.
Yeah, I mean, with nostalgia, and then like you said, the reinvention with that show, yeah, it was a bummer. But yeah, we'll see going forward what Sony has planned for their first party studios, and hopefully it's not any more layoffs, but we'll see. EA, it's another one. Are laying off about 5% of its total global staff, about 670 people. So that one, that's another big one, and 570. So CEO Andrew Wilson, he said that the accelerating industry transformation where player needs and motivations change significantly, and they're moving away from the development of future licensed IP. So I thought this was interesting with EA. So it seems to me like they're getting back to, EA Sports. It's in the game. And trying to specifically moving away from a lot of their Star Wars Disney projects. One of them being the one we were, again, very excited for just like a couple weeks ago. Yeah. The Respawn Mandalorian first-person shooter, which they did announce was canceled. So, like, I don't even think we got an official announcement on that. Like, I think it was, I don't remember it ever being like, hey, we're making this. If it was just like a rumor that came out, But that one hurt. I am hopeful, but it's going to be like one of those wait and see type situations, because they said they're still going to be making the Black Panther and Iron Man single player games. I don't know. I don't know if we're ever going to see those. Yeah. But, and they also said they're making a third installment of the Star Wars Jedi game.
Yeah. So, I mean, what they're doing in sports is now it's like Football Club or FC 2024 rather than FIFA. So what is their answer to like Battlefront, I guess? Battlefield, I would think, already would have been their answer to Battlefront. It was almost the same game, just skinned in Star Wars.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, again, this is another one, like tons of speculation of what they're going to do going forward. They did announce that they're shuttering two mobile games, F1 Mobile Racing and MLB Tap Sports. Um, and here, I'm going to read another quote that kind of gives us an idea. It says, this greater focus allows us to drive creativity, accelerate innovation, and double down on our biggest opportunities, including our owned IPs, sports, and massive online communities to deliver the entertainment players want today and tomorrow. Lastly, we are streamlining our company operations to deliver deeper, more connected experiences for fans everywhere that build community, shape culture, and grow fandom. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means for the people at Respawn. Like, what do they? Are they go and make? What if this turns into them making Titanfall 3? That's not going to happen.
I'd
If
love
they canceled us, basically Titanfall that's in the Star Wars world, like they're not going to go be like, you know what'll be better, just a Titanfall game. So probably Apex. They'll probably just be making Apex Legends, or I don't know.
Yeah, the next Titanfall game may just be under the label of Apex Legends because of its popularity. We could see that.
Yeah, just them adding mechs to Apex Legends is what it's going to end up becoming. But yeah, again, I'm hopeful for the Iron Man, Black Panther games. But yeah, I don't know. I'm really just expecting more. The sports games they sell. They're probably much easier to make. They don't have to worry about licensing. Well, I mean, they get the licenses from the players leagues and everything, but it's not. I'd be interested to hear how much Marvel, Disney charges for use of their IP. They're probably taking a pretty big chunk out of the sales of one of these games. So, yeah, I don't know. So yeah, that was another one. We'll see what EA ends up doing with this one. The game director from Battlefield, Marcus Leto, he left right before the EA layoffs, and then like 2 days later they closed his whole company, Ridgeline Games, doing the Battlefield. They were making the Battlefield games. Those are going to be going over to Criterion Games. What do you think is next for the Battlefield franchise? Do you think that they could come out of this?
I really don't know, because this guy I believe came into the scene right after 2030, or what is it, Battlefield
2048,
whichever it is. That was, I think, considered to be a bit of a disaster, and he was going to be coming in to change that up and give a direction to whatever the future of Battlefield is. But he's already out, and I mean, there may be some reasons coming from above for that. Like EA is putting a lot of pressure on the next Battlefield to be different, or who knows? It's such a mixed bag, and then it's switching developers right now in the middle of all this. I'd say it's almost impossible to tell. Maybe they're going to try to pull a Call of Duty where everything was so futuristic all of a sudden with like advanced warfare, and people were like, we want it to go back a little bit, bring it back down to reality. And that's when they say boots on the ground, World War II. That could be the next Battlefield strategy as well.
Yeah, it makes sense. Go back to basics. I did read that they're planning on having a battle royale style game built into the next Battlefield. So we'll see what that means. Some more layoffs coming from Supermassive Games, the developers of the Until Dawn and Dark Pictures anthology. They had to let go about 90 of their 350 staff. And then Deck 9, the developer, they did most recently Life is Strange, True Colors, laid off about 20% of their staff. So as far as Supermassive, I don't know what that means for they got, what is it, the Dead by Daylight spin-off, Frank Stone or whatever, coming out, and a couple other games. I don't know what that means for them. I don't know what Deck 9 was working on. But, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what is the reasoning for the industry-wide layoffs. I mean, it's not even just the video game industry. We're seeing it everywhere.
Tech. Everything tech.
In tech. Yep. So, yeah, it's we'll see. But I do think, yeah, I think you hit it right on the head. It's the COVID spending, corporate greed, and just miscalculations across the board. For me, it's crazy to think though that when gaming was at its highest and they were investing all this money, that there was no forethought into like this isn't going to last. You know, it was
Right.
like a complete shift. Or like, okay, this is it. This is the future of gaming. Let's just keep going with this. And the fact that it, wasn't sustainable seems pretty obvious to me that it was
Yeah.
going to go back to some sort of a norm afterwards.
Well, also
But
in an oversaturated market, when you've got some of the even the big dogs in the gaming industry that are supposed to be giving you AAA games pumping out crap when you know they can do better, you have
yeah,
to be weary. You can't blame the consumer for being a little more picky about what games they pick up, what they nitpick here and there, because I mean sometimes you can tell a game's going to be crap before you buy it. Sometimes you got to wait, and we're seeing a lot of games that were projected to be big successes just kind
yeah,
of failing to launch.
yep, yeah, exactly. I mean, and we're seeing with people playing these games. Yeah, they are definitely much. They want a 9 out of 10. There's no room for anything less, and
For $70,
definitely,
it better be 9 out
yeah,
of 10.
right. And there's definitely no room for some of these games that people are that these developers are just throwing out, thinking, "Oh yeah, these dumbs will buy it." Like the Skull and Bones, the quality of that, or the Suicide Squad game. It's just they're not
Yeah.
quality games that they're putting out.
And everything doesn't have to be a triple A or quadruple A, whatever that's supposed to
No,
mean. It can be an indie game. It can be smaller, but the price should reflect that, and then people won't be
absolutely.
angry with you.
Yeah, and we're seeing that. Like again, we talked about it recently, Helldivers, um, and Pale World, like these quality games at a lower price point, more indie games, even though they're not. And I'm hoping that's what will this means is that these companies will do more with less, and just focus on putting out quality games. Like you look at like something like the Miles Morales game, where it was just, it's just a continuation of the one game. It was an 8 to 10 hour game. They put it out. I think it was like $40, and it's still like that's a triple A ish game, but at a lower price point. It's what people want. It did well, and why not make more of those, more bite sized games? Nothing needs
Right.
to. It doesn't all need to be these huge, brand new engine, all this, just make more of what people want and put it out at a lower price point. And yeah, I don't know. We'll see. So Embracer Group, we talked about them recently having layoffs and the struggles that they're going through, and they're trying to a little bit of a different strategy to kind of save their company, and that is selling off some of these studios that they have most recently purchased. The first one being they just sold Saber for $500 million to a some private buyer. So it's interesting. I had to look up to see. So they bought it back in 2020 for $525 million. So not bad. Not a terrible loss there. Especially considering the climate, to just lose 25 mil on the overall on the sale. But yeah, so this is part of their restructuring. This has happened ever since Embracer. They were buying up everything, and then they had a deal with the Saudis go south. It was supposed to be a $2 billion deal, and after that, it's just been Embracer just falling apart piece by piece.
Yeah. And with that one in particular, we talk about it like, they bought it for 525, they sold it for 500. I'm not familiar enough with Saber and what they've done to know, but have they generated possibly at least 25 million in revenue since being under Embracer?
It's possible. I know right now they're developing the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake, and they have also in development Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2, John Carpenter's Toxic Commando, and Expeditions, a Mud Runner game. So I know they do those Expeditions games. I don't know if those have generated $25 million, but I feel like they just keep coming out with those. But so yeah, hopefully those are still on track. And it's interesting, like you just hear about like, oh yeah, this private investor group just bought a video game company for $500 million, and it's like, It's because it's always just been either Sony or Microsoft or Embracer that's buying everything, and now we're getting these different investment groups buying these games, and it's kind of it's spreading out. Now, speaking of which, Gearbox is supposedly the next title or the next studio from Embracer that's going to be being sold. I don't know who that's going to be to. There's been no word on who's buying that. It's going to be another private investment group, or Sony, or who knows. But
I say we put a bid on it, at least $25 or so.
Yeah, let's do it. I think so. It was sold in 2021 for $363 million. So, I mean,
might be out of our price range.
Yeah, I mean, maybe more than 20. But I think maybe we get it, have everybody send us each $1, and then.
But maybe nobody else will hear about the auction, and we'll get it for $1.
Yes, this is what will happen. We'll take down all the signs that they put on the streets.
Yeah,
about the auction coming up. I think this is a great idea. So yeah, that's happening. We'll see what happens with Gearbox, but it's interesting. I'm liking that. And getting away from Embracer is a good thing. What it means for those companies and what they'll be able to do if it's because now, yeah, I mean, you're going. When Embracer buys you, you're underneath the sweet umbrella, and you're everything's good. We're all safe. And now they're out on their ass, trying to figure out what they're doing and stuff like that. But hopefully, it's a good thing because it's Embracer. It wasn't a great place to be. So we'll see. And then more kind of news along the lines of those. So recently we talked about Toys for Bob. They were one of the Microsoft Activision studios that was hit with layoffs and stuff like that. So they recently announced that they are spinning off as an independent game development studio. So this is good. This is what I want more of. I want more of these smaller studios just making, smaller games or games that we want. So Toys for Bob, they made the Spyro, Skylanders, Crash games. And most recently, they've been tasked with just working on the Call of Duty series. And it's you're taking this studio that can make these, these great games that I don't know who wants them. More people want them than they want this studio kind of tweaking Call of Duty. Yeah. But yeah, I like that. I want to see more of this stuff. I'm just going to quickly read the statement that Toys for Bob put out because it's it's enlightening. Over the years, we've inspired love, joy, and laughter for the inner child in all gamers. We pioneered new IP and hardware technologies in Skylanders. We raised the bar for best-in-class remasters in Spyro Reignited Trilogy. We've taken Crash Bandicoot to innovative, critically acclaimed new heights. With the same enthusiasm and passion, we believe that now is the time to take the studio and our future games to the next level. This opportunity allows us to return to our roots of being a small and nimble studio. To make this news even more exciting, we're exploring a possible partnership between our new studio and Microsoft. And while we're in the early days of developing our next new game and a ways away from making any announcements, our team is excited to develop new stories, new characters, and new gameplay experiences. Our friends at Activision and Microsoft have been extremely supportive of our new direction, and we're confident that we will continue to work closely together as part of our future. So keep your horns on and your eyes out for more news. Thank you to our community of players for always supporting us through our journey. Can't wait to share updates on our new adventure as an indie studio. Talk to you soon. So that's important for them that they're working on this partnership with Microsoft because Microsoft owns all the things we talked about. That's, they own Crash and Spyro, all those IP. So if they wanted to go back to their roots and create one of these, then, that partnership is necessary. So, yeah, we'll see if that happens. I would love to see another, Spyro game or another Crash game. But, yeah, it's good news.
Probably straight to Game Pass when they do.
Sure. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. But that leads us to this week's top 5 of the week. Top 5. It's a top 5. Top 5. All right, this week's top 5. What other, we're talking about these, these franchises that could be coming back to life. What other dead, quote unquote, franchises would you want to see make a reappearance back in the video game world. And here are our top 5. So number 5 was a tie between Tony Hawk Pro Skater and Time Splitters. You ever play Time Splitters?
No.
Okay. That was it was like one of those back during like the GoldenEye era of first person shooters. It was a little bit later. I think it was like PlayStation. It was one of those 4-player couch co-op or not co-op, but you're playing against your friends, but each character had different abilities, and it was like this dope first person shooter. And recently they were making them, and it might have been Embracer Group, one of those big places, and it was just shut down. So that's one of mine that I would love to see. And then Tony Hawk, we recently got the remake of Pro Skater 2, and yeah, I would love to see just a whole new game, just using some of these updated engines, and just they can make an amazing game now.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah, one thing that we have to consider when making this list is like there are a lot of other companies who came by, and even though some of these were their first of their type, other companies came in like Skate. There's a new one coming out like Project something another. So there are other games doing this, but I'd love to see one Tony Hawk's Pro Skater in the style of the old school versions.
Give us a dope soundtrack. I want to go get the letters.
Yeah, Skate.
Get
the secret videotapes.
Yes. All right. Number 4. This is entirely on me because this is my most wanted franchise I want returned. This is the Infamous series. Infamous is one of my favorite games of all time. And I just want, it doesn't even have to be a new game. Just give me like a updated remake. Cause the first one was on PlayStation 3. Just give me more. Hit me with that Infamous. It was such a great superhero game without being like Marvel or DC or whatever. It was just, and it had moral choices, open world game, fantastic game. Number 3, Twisted Metal. You knew it was coming. We talk about it way too much, and we talked about it earlier. Twisted Metal would be a great one. Put it out there as a live service game, and just I'll pay a couple bucks to have that. Give me Axel. He's just holding the wheels, just going.
Yeah. I hope this one, if they bring that project back that we just talked about being canceled, if they bring that back, I hope it's a little change up to the series and it's more like that Mad Max game. Did you play it?
Yes, that would be sweet. Yeah. I mean, they could definitely add like fighting games. There's always that story that's added. Why not add like a story to Twisted Metal? You could have a single player story you go through. Maybe you'll follow along with the TV show or what. It doesn't have to just be an online fighting game. Number 2, Guitar Hero. Bring it back. Bring back Guitar Hero. That's all I gotta say. Just bring back. We gotta make a petition. Bring back Guitar Hero, especially now that new guitar is coming out. What are they doing over there? What are they doing over there? I mean, we've gotten no news from Microsoft, Activision.
Well, we've heard that it's possible that they could be exploring some of these old titles.
Yeah, make it happen. And then number 1, again, this is one we bring up pretty regularly. Titanfall. Bring back Titanfall. I want to jump in that mech. I want to hunt down some other mechs. Just have a blast. It's probably the most fun first-person shooter out there.
Oh yeah.
Best campaign.
It's such a damn shame that like 3 out of 5 of the things on our top list of what we really want as gamers, as lifelong gamers, are canceled projects.
Dude, they were within our grasp, and they were just pulled right out from under us. It was like it sucks. It sucks. They were so close. But now I think the closest one, like you said, is probably Guitar Hero, because that one we haven't heard yes or no on it. There was, it was just like, maybe. And we'll see, what the future holds. But yeah, let us know what your favorite franchises that haven't really done anything, and let us know what you thought of our list. All right, more positive news. Pokemon Presents. There was a 15-minute direct type thing the other day, talking about some new Pokemon, some plans for the series. All right, so first up, they talked about a new events coming in Scarlet and Violet. Pokemon Horizons, the series collaboration event starts in Pokemon Go. So, fans of the series, fans of Pokemon Go, get out there. One I thought was pretty cool, Pokemon trading card game. You're going to have digital trading cards. There was a period, this was, I don't know, I guess it was maybe during the pandemic, before, a while ago, that Topps, the trading card company, all the sports and everything, started doing digital trading cards, and they were huge. People would pay money to buy packs of cards and get these special cards or whatever. But you could also get free coins, get free packs, and that's what this Pokemon's doing. You get free packs, and you could buy more if you want. But I discovered that people, wanted to collect these cards. They want these special cards, and I would you get my free packs, and then I would sell the special cards on eBay, which you would just then, you sell that, and they would buy the card, and then they would send you a message to what their screen name was, and then I would send them the cards. It was so easy. It was the easiest money I ever made because there was no shipping or anything like that. And I could not believe that the amount of money that people paid for these little digital cards. And now since then, those apps have all gone away. They're done. And now people have all this money spent on these pictures on their phone, and they can't do anything with them. It's crazy to me. But now Pokemon's going to be doing that, and I'm really hoping that I could sell people Pokemon cards on eBay.
Well, it's kind of funny. I didn't know that this was like an upcoming thing. I thought it might have been out when this announcement came out, so I went to the Play Store and looked, and they've already got a game just like it, except for the card opening part. But they've got like the trading card game, and I'm wondering, is this going to be superseding that? Is the other one just going to disappear along with all those microtransactions?
Yeah, that's a great question, because this is very similar to that. It's you play the game with your friends, you trade with your friends, but yeah, this one there's the real packs, and I'm sure you're going to be numbered and that sort of thing. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. And then they also announced that a new Pokemon Legends game will be out next year. This one called Pokemon Legends Z to A, which they do the alphabet weird there. I don't know. It's backwards. But I don't know. I don't know how Pokemon World works. But yeah, that one is set in Luminois City, set in the Kalos region. So my kid's super into Pokemon lately. He'll be very excited about that.
And I've heard that the last Legends game, like Legends Arceus,
yeah,
it was beloved by some more than the main entry titles of the future and past, whatever they were called.
Sure, it looked cool. It was different. It had that open world kind of style to it, where you go out and you do your thing in that. So I like what they're doing. We'll see what happens with these ones. And then last up, the PlayStation Plus free games for March have been revealed, and they are F1 23, Sifu, Hello Neighbor 2, and Destiny 2, The Witch Queen. A mid-month over here. I mean, fans of the F1 series, that's good, right? If you like that series. I feel like if you're a fan of F1, though, you're probably buying that game.
Yeah.
Who's waiting to be like, oh, I can't wait until F1 comes to PlayStation Plus to ride around in these cars in a track.
Yeah.
But I'm biased. We played that F1. We're not fans of that.
Not for us.
Not for us.
But Sifu was pretty good.
I like Sifu, and I like seafood. So it's, that's good. Hello Neighbor, I played a little bit of the first one, and I don't know if I get it really. It's stealth. I'm not a big stealth guy, and stressful. When that cranky old man wants to murder me, I get a little freaked out. And then Destiny, dude. This is your chance to get back into Destiny after all these years before the next pack comes out. So.
And here I thought Destiny was already free to play, but I guess the expansions still cost you
right
a little bit.
Yeah, I think base game you can get in for free, but yeah, the expansions are extra. And I don't know when the next one comes out or if it's out. No, it's coming out soon. But I'm assuming they're trying to, get people back in there for the next one, spend some more money on it. All right, and that is it. What do you think, dude? Anything else you want to chat about?
That had to be it. I'm sure there were more layoffs, but we can't cover it all.
We can't cover it all. I don't even want to like talk about it anymore. Like it was, it is what it is. But if there are any more, we'll have a segment where we just have like layoffs of the week, and we'll just quickly go over it.
Oh yeah, gaming layoffs weekly.
Yeah. Ooh, I like that. A whole new spin-off show.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so much for checking out this episode. You can find this show in audio format anywhere podcasts are found. Just type in GNW and you'll have it there ready for you. Click subscribe, download all, and then you can listen to all of them. Because there's a story here going. You got to go back to episode 1, and we tell a story throughout, and everyone is canon. So don't.
I've been shouting one word really loud that stands out from the rest in each episode, and it tells a story if you go back and find them all.
And sometimes it's just a curse. And he's just like,
usually
and I'm just like, you can't just yell that out loud. If you want to, watch the show complete with all the game trailers and all that fun stuff, which there's not a lot of fun stuff in this episode, you could go to YouTube. Pop Culture Playground is where you'll find that. Or over at fruitlab.com. This is a website where you can watch video game content, post video game content, and you earn like a cryptocurrency for doing that. So you can buy gift cards to like Wendy's, probably. And then be sure to check out Full Clip's YouTube channel, GameFAQs, GameFAX. Watch him playing some fun games over there. And our TikTok, we're making it happen. All sorts of daily new content over there. That's where all the discussions are happening. We're talking about the news that's happening every week. We'll be talking about these layoffs and talking about the new games coming out. So definitely go there and follow us over there. That's about it, right? Did I hit everything?
That's everything.
I really should write this down, but I feel like it's a challenge. I like to test myself every week. But all right, I nailed it. Let's get out of here. Thanks so much. We'll see you next week.